So let me introduce myself. I currently work at Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia. I got my start in STEM education at the University of Georgia, where I majored in chemistry. Yes, I am a big college football fan, but I cannot bring myself to talk about it if you're familiar with the college football championship game. So we'll just leave it at that. So I have worked with engineers my entire career. Started off in industry and then started at Old Dominion University in the 90s. I won't give you an exact time frame, so you won't know how old I am. I have always worked with industry, liaisoning between faculty, students, and industry. And now at CNU, I'm still working with industry and at a department level, placing interns and entry-level positions with our students. So that's what I'm doing now. And I will share my screen. Is my screen showing?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Now we can see it.
Okay, great. So I'm really excited to talk to you about our mentorship program here at Christopher Newport University. I belong to the Department of Physics, Computer Science, and Engineering. And for those of you that are not familiar with CNU, I will give a little bit of background on the university as well as my department. So CNU started as a state institution in 1960, 30 years after Old Dominion was also started by the College of William and Mary. CNU gained independence in 77 and became a university in 92. We enroll 5,000 students purposely. We have a very high ratio, student to faculty ratio, and we do focus on the undergraduate students. We do not, we offer master's degree programs, but there are no PhD programs here. We do benefit from the liberal arts part of Christopher Newport. Helps our students, our technical students, with much better communication skills, writing skills. They benefit from the liberal arts. We have been classified as a public Ivy in the United States. And on July the 1st, we have a new president that comes from the Coast Guard Academy, Bill Kelly. And if anybody knows who the former president was, Paul Tribble, he really, he was here for 25 years and made this university truly what it is today. So my department is a very technical department under the College of Natural Sciences, and we would like to say engineering, but unfortunately engineering is not in the title of the college. And it's great for me to be able to get out and talk to people about our department because it is so technical when Christopher Newport is really known for liberal arts education. So our engineering program was recognized in the U.S. News and World Report. our engineering programs are ABET accredited, which is a big deal. We have majors in physics, computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, cybersecurity, and information science. We also have 3 physics faculty positions that are a joint appointment with Jefferson Labs. And just to give you an idea of some of the research that our faculty does using undergraduate students, robots and collaborative agents, nuclear physics, gravitational wave astronomy, which I wish I could talk more about because it's really, really cool. And of course, everything that's in the news about AI and natural language processing research as well. So I'm not going to explain this graph except to show you that 557 was our enrollment in fall of 2020. And then obviously COVID happened, but we are back to the largest number of enrollment at what does that say? 89. I've got the lights off in my office because the lighting is so bad here. So we're a growing department. We're one of the fastest growing departments at Christopher Newport. So women in STEM is a complex issue. When I was at Old Dominion, I was involved in a program in the mid 2000s called Women Engineers. That was over 20 years ago. And I am sorry to say that the amount of women going into engineering and technical majors is nothing much has changed since 20 years ago. So you probably are aware that we have a STEM problem in this country, and it's not just about women, it's about the number of students that want to go into a STEM field. Math, any science you go into, you need to have good math skills, and at a high school level, the United States math scores are not improving where other countries are improving. Research shows that this is in high school as well. Girls and boys achieve equally in math and science. There is an exception of spatial skills, which I find interesting, but spatial skills can be taught. So really there is no academic difference between girls and boys, women and men. So at the same skill level, girls will assess their math abilities as lower than boys. And girls tend to hold themselves to a higher standard because they are going into a male-dominated field. Sound familiar? 57% of students that receive a bachelor's degree across our country are female, but represent, this article says 31%. I'll show you in a graph later. It depends on the degree, but it's significantly less when majoring in a STEM field. So there's a few things that are important to know. Role models are very important for women and men, but especially in these fields, girls need to see women who look like them in STEM fields. I have a quick personal story. I did major in chemistry. I had a mother who was a veterinarian, and her sisters who were all in STEM fields. One in aerospace engineering, well, it was aeronautical engineering back then, and one in architecture. I never questioned whether I could be successful in a STEM field because I had those role models. So they're very important. Self-efficacy is also a big part of going into a field like this. It's a little bit different than self-confidence because it is the belief that you can succeed at a task. And boys have a higher self-efficacy than girls in math and the sciences. So it's been reported in the literature that undergraduate students not only wanted role models, but they wanted guidance and support, which leads itself directly into a mentorship mind frame that they really desire back and forth versus just a role model that they can identify with. So when a female student reads about other females in science and professional situations, it changes their attitude a little bit. But what it means is that a longer, more formal program is needed to bring about a career change. Another fact is mentoring is widely held to be the key to increasing STEM perseverance. A lot of women coming into a technical major will either leave college or leave the major for something different. So the type of program, mentoring program that we have here at CNU is a task-oriented program that focuses on career development and how to best activate a path towards a technical profession. So this graph quickly shows how the percentages are divided up in STEM areas. And this one that is here, that's over 50%, is in the biological sciences, and all the way to the very lowest, which is mechanical engineering. A lot of the engineering professions are down at this level of the graph. The good news is that participation has increased by women, but it's still got a long way to go. So specifically, our mentorship program started in 2016. Originally, we were very closely associated with our SWE student chapter, and I'll talk about that a little later, but COVID significantly affected participation in professional organizations at universities. So we don't have that close of a relationship right now. Historically, since 2016, we have involved 20 to 30 professional mentors and or pairs of mentor-mentees a year. Last academic year was a record. We had 39 mentees and 39 mentors. Positive growth, and we'll get to this year in a few minutes. So the kind of things that we do are panel discussions, workshops, going to concerts and theater, which happens a lot over here at CNU. And this program has become a signature PCSE program to help support the continued success of our female students. So again, the purpose is career guidance, professional networking with the mentors work group, as well as networking that we organize here on campus. It is a task-oriented program with things like resume review, mock interviews, evaluating strengths, and IDing areas that the student wants to improve upon. The benefits, and I didn't write this down, but there are issues being a student and a professional in a male-dominated environment. There are biases that these girls experience. So the mentorship program helps them experience belonging, improving their motivation to stay with this major, because it's a difficult subject matter, and it helps to give them confidence in what they're doing in school. It certainly helps to open a lot of doors to new opportunities. All of our mentors, we do the best we can to match them up with a student major with a mentor that has a similar background, but it's not always possible. So what we ask all the mentors to do is introduce their mentee to other people that they work with who are, for example, an electrical engineer or a computer scientist, and be able to network with them as well. The women mentors are there to support them as well as help the students to overcome any challenges that they're having. So here's a picture from a few years back of our mentors and mentees. This is at our closing ceremony for the year. We start in end of September and we finish up at mid-April, right before graduation. So this is a graph of our female students in physics, computer science, and engineering. You see it has gone from 2016 from about a little less than 15% up to about 20%. 20% is probably a good average if you leave out those women in biological sciences. And 2023, we do not have any data. And I'm going to tell you why on the next slide. So I think everyone is familiar with the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action. And in anticipation of similar laws coming at the state level, there is, when gender is addressed, the registrar has stopped providing any information on gender and race. So we could not which is what we usually do, communicate with only the female students. We couldn't do that anymore. So this year we opened up the mentorship program to all of our students. We have 37 mentor-mentee pairs this year. And we still have a large percentage of female students at 25, and we have 12 male pairs. We still are, talking about women's issues. And I think that it's great to have the guys involved, because the guys need to understand these issues just as much as the girls do. So some of the suggestions last year on how do we improve the program is, first, I mentioned before, doing networking events on campus, as well as detailed suggestions from the department for one-on-one activities. Even our seasoned mentors felt like they needed more direction on different things other than reviewing resumes and doing mock interviews. So we did that. We are also continuing our once semester workshops. We had one in November on unconscious bias, and one that we will have in March, which talks about imposter syndrome. And the guys can have imposter syndrome as well, but I think statistically it's more of a women's issue when they're in STEM groups. So I mentioned SWE before, and if you are an engineer, SWE is a really good professional society to be involved with. It exists really to empower women in technology. We are in the process of reviving our SWE student chapter. As I said before, COVID really affected engagement. Engagement with students is starting to come back, but even right after COVID, all the faculty here would talk about no one is even coming to office hours. So they're back at office hours. They're starting to come back in professional groups. So our plans are to attend the CAPWIC conference being held at UVA. CAPWIC is the capital area, so Washington, D.C. capital area, women in computing. And we plan to meet the professional members of SWE locally here in Hampton Roads and attend one of their meetings. So, in summary, mentorship is a very important part of increasing the percentages of women in STEM and retaining women in STEM. So that is the end of my presentation, and I guess I will take any live questions or maybe some from the chat.
Fantastic presentation. And yes, as a reminder, if anybody would like to ask a live question, if you raise your hand, I can unmute you. So I'll start with this first question from Elizabeth. And she said, how have you collected feedback about this program?
So At the end of each year, we do a questionnaire with feedback. What can we improve on? What was the best part of this? Those sort of things. This year, we actually, at our closing ceremony, instead of having a speaker, we did a brainstorming activity for, not in place of the emailed survey, but in addition to, and we got a lot of good feedback live from that as well. And the two things that were most common in the feedback, we implemented this year in terms of the additional exercises or additional areas that the mentee and mentor can work on together, and then the networking. And when it's on campus, it's really networking with our mentors. So our students will get to know everybody's mentor, not just their own.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. All right, do you have time for one more question?
Sure.
All right, this question came from Kayla, and she says, can you talk about your personal journey, either being mentored or mentoring others, and how it's helped you? She says, I'm considering being a mentor.
So I have not actually officially been a mentor. Believe me, when I came here, I wanted to mentor some of these students, and it was like, no, that's not going to work for you to be the administrator and a mentor. But I feel informally over the years, worked with a number of female students. And so, informally, I think I've affected a lot of feelings about being a woman in STEM. My journey, the thing that got me interested in chemistry was, so I went to a private high school, and my mother, who was a veterinarian, decided she could teach chemistry at that high school. And so I would watch her on the weekends preparing for class. And I knew what she didn't understand or was struggling with. And so when I got into class, that's the exact question I would ask her, just to be a bad teenager. But the point I made earlier, that I had these role models that were very close to me, that made all the difference in the world. I don't even know what it would feel like to question myself to be able to go into a technical field. I never felt that anybody was discriminating against me because I was in a technical field. I don't know if they really were, and I just didn't recognize it. That's one of the questions I've asked myself a lot. But role models are a huge difference, and the mentors that we have here are they're doing amazing things.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Well, before we move on to Nancy's presentation, do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom for all of our viewers today?
I like what the question was. I'm considering being a mentor. I think it's a really important thing if you're in STEM. Any student can use a mentor to their advantage, but especially in STEM fields, it makes a big difference. So consider being a mentor.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.